the deputy governor in that specific county, that is James Nyoro, to be the acting governor. But then again, also that didn't go quite well, because at around December 3rd, 4th, thereabout, the members of county assembly, again in the specific county, came out wanting to remove the then elected deputy, the then appointed, better still, deputy governor James Nyoro. So much has been happening in Kiambu County, issues to do with corruption. These are just some of the issues to do with inadequate funds, issues to do with poor infrastructure. Again, also among them, issues to do with high youth unemployment in that specific county, which saw the appointment of the deputy governor as the appointed governor, which again also didn't really go quite well, because again, the members of county assembly just came out strolling to want to remove him from office. This early this year, when the year was beginning, we saw again also the governor also just facing court cases, trying to see, will he actually be impeached, like what the members of county assembly as well as the Senate wanted. So much of what has been happening in Kiambu County is what Ram will be discussing, at least to help us unpack this issue of Kiambu County. Will we see this county going forward, or will this just be at a standstill, like much of what we've been seeing at least since late last year, coming all through this year? So Ram, over to you with what has been happening and still what is happening right now in Kiambu County.
To be part of this conversation. SMS 20154 is the number. Start with the word Channel 1, tell us your name and where you are watching us from. On Twitter, the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Tag me at Ram Maguko. My colleagues are at Jane Wamboi, at Doreen Arange, and at KBC Television. That is the official station handle. County Watch starts now. And to help us understand more about what's going on in the county of Kiambu, I am joined by the first elected women rep of Kiambu County, Honorable Anne Nyokabi. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good morning, Ram.
Good
and
morning,
good morning, KBC viewers.
The daughter of a teacher.
Yes.
So far, you umenyamaza sana. I don't know, what have you been up to?
Well, politics tends to take a lot of time away from yourself, the family. So the last while, all the things and responsibilities that I hadn't taken at home, been able to take my children through the full processes that I was not able to attend, their baptism, First Holy Communion, confirmation classes, and ensure that they've come into the full circle in terms of their Christian life. So that is one part of it.
You're a Christian?
Yes, I am. I'm a Catholic.
Catholic?
Yes.
Nice. All right.
So I'm proud that I've been able to take that time and also spend time with my family. I have two daughters in university, so that has been just an amazing time to be able to spend time with them, mentor them, get them through their processes. One is in industrial design, one is in medicine. And I have one more now who will be finishing this year. So
this year?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
So I think that has given me the time that was stolen from them during my political life.
Yeah. Balancing was a problem by then when you are women.
Yes, balancing time becomes an issue, especially, women, we don't get the opportunity to have a co-wife so that we, to assist us in our duties. So you tend to now have to either sacrifice certain things. So I've been able to do that. I've still continued to serve the nation in my own individual capacity. During the last 2 years, I've had the opportunity, after His Excellency the President mentioned that he would get into the handshake, and when that was announced, I had the opportunity to meet up with my sister, who the first deputy governor for Kisumu County, Her Excellency Ruth Odinga, and we spent time together trying to understand this handshake. What does it mean? Our roles as women. How can we be able to bring this together? And that meant, first of all, getting to understand, to know each other. And we had the opportunity to travel together overseas and fortunately meet with some people who are very interested. And it was really interesting to find out that her passion in education is also my passion, and training opportunities. So we were able to secure 200 million shillings in scholarship opportunities for youth in engineering, science and technology, which we are working on ensuring that it's operationalized. 100 million to Jomo Kenyatta University students of engineering, and 100 million to JUST. So Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. So that, I think, has even crystallized the need to understand each other, to work with each other, build those bridges, and understand how we can actually serve this country. You don't have to hold an elective position to be able to contribute to the development of this country. But you do need to have a passion and commitment to certain areas. We have 11 million youth in this country. They are the future. When Singapore grew, it grew because it had young, dynamic people in leadership opportunities. So when we get the opportunity to be able to bring those kind of opportunities to Kenya and provide an exchange program that will benefit, because none of us have children now who necessarily will benefit from those particular scholarships, it will benefit other future generations of Kenya and help to put engineering, science and technology at a different level.
So, based on what you're saying, so leadership is not about the position,
no, it's
but
not.
The role you play in the society.
The role you play.
So you're not far from these issues of leadership. You're still doing something so far.
Absolutely.
And your hands are on the ground.
They're on the ground. I still continue to support some of my projects. There's a youth group that last year, there's a home that I support on a monthly basis with food for children with spina bifida in Kiambu slum. It's Eden Homes. And when I was there, the youth last year told me that, no, ma'am, umetuachilia sana. We want to be able to start a project, which I did. And actually, they said they wanted to raise chickens. So I ensured that they got the training that they're supposed to, the food and the chicken that they did. On their part, what they were supposed to do is ensure that they had the housing for it, and to ensure that they had electricity to make sure that they would take care of it. None of their chickens have died. And it is...
They're all alive.
They're all alive, and they're well over 6 months. So I'm sure they've started making money. So I'm hoping that I'll get one chicken cuckoo to show me how well they've done.
And then you'll bring us an egg.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have plans for 2022?
Do I have plans for 2022? You know, politics is... we still have 3 years to go. And I think... right now, if we can continue to play our role in society, you know, instill good values, national values that we're looking to ensure we move from a country of corruption to a country where leaders serve the people that they're supposed to serve, then we'll have a better country. Right. So I think there's enough time. I haven't decided whether I will participate or not, but
so far,
3 years is a long way to go.
We're not seeing your name featuring in appointments.
No, they're not. But whether they don't feature in appointments, you know, I did take that sabbatical, 2-year sabbatical, to be able to reorganize myself. So it's not one, when you take, we've been in politics, it can be very intense, especially if you have a heart to serve. It actually does take quite a bit from you. So there's 3 more years. I know the president is looking to reorganize his government and ensure that he gets the right people to help him deliver on his legacy projects. Yeah.
And I will give you a chance to give us just your take with regards to what happened yesterday. Tongues went wagging. Yesterday, Twitter, the hashtags were trending.
Yes.
But we will talk about that at the tail end. But let's get into what you've mentioned earlier. You talked about integrity. You talked about passion. You've talked about, you know, the heart. You loving what you do. Do you think that as a nation, do we have selfless leaders who, you know, can still be noticed in this country? I remember that when you got into office, when you were elected as the very first women rep of Kiambu County, you gave out your first 3-month salary to charity. Do you think that we can have leaders who can do the same as what you are doing? Do you have leaders who are selfless enough to accept to do such things? People ahead of paper.
Yes, we can. We have leaders in this country, and they're not necessarily in positions of office. What we've witnessed, I think, in the political scene recently is that people have gotten into government to enrich themselves, which has actually been very unfortunate. And that's why we are seeing that instead of people going in to serve, ensure that their service delivery expand the space, whether it's in public service, to ensure that if we're doing project or program delivery, are we getting the university students to come on in for the apprenticeship? Are they coming in when we're doing the, if it's an agricultural program, are we going in to get students from the schools of agriculture to ensure that the value chain end to end is serviced by people who have the educational capacity, and we give them the opportunity as well to work within the field.
I remember when I was following up on you, you come from a background where we have teachers who, you know, gave you the push.
Oh, they gave me the whip, not the push.
The whip.
Yes.
But as a nation, are we really, you know, pushing or whipping, in quotes, you know, our young leaders into the direction, into that light? Are we even having the, you know, the qualifications, those quality leadership techniques and styles that we need to have?
You know, it starts from the top. I remember when I was in office, I wrote to the universities within Kiambu and asked for people to come into the office to do apprenticeship or internships, because program delivery across 12 sub-counties, 60 wards, cannot be done by one person. So I would request from the universities to give me research staff, students who would come in and help with program delivery. What that did is provide mentorship, give them an opportunity to work within government, understand how it works. Are there people who are still in government who can be able to do so? I believe so. If we take a look at where did the Kinotis, where did the DPP come from? They're Kenyans who were there, but they were serving in their own capacity. Within civil service as well, there are those who are there and willing to. I didn't succeed on my own when I was in leadership, no. I succeeded because I had the help and support of people who are willing to mentor and give me an understanding and an insight into how things work. On the issue of the youth program developed, over 2,000 students that I trained, that was done in conjunction with a gentleman who had worked within industrialization. Okay. So there are opportunities that Kenyans can serve, but I think what has happened is most people have said this politics is too dirty. I don't want to become involved in a big mess.
Isn't it dirty?
It is dirty because, but then, you know, when good people refuse to come forward, then you have infiltration of crooks and people who are in it to serve for themselves.
And you know, this is the exact problem, you know, when we have people who can decide to be selfless, but instead they get selfish. Where do we see the country heading to, you know, looking at the kind of leadership that we have as of now? You gave out your salary for 3 months to charity. Can we have the same being seen or reflected in any other you know, leader in the country?
It can be done. You see, I've grown up in a family where from nursery to high school, it was Catholic based. So the issues in terms of values of giving, integrity, doing what you're supposed to do, being made to understand that even when you're in school, you came in here alone, attending mass every single morning. Those Christian values were inculcated like throughout.
From that tender age?
From a tender age up to, I did my whole schooling in a Catholic education system. So heavily influenced by the Loreto sisters in terms of, yes, Saturdays was community service day. We had to go into Kimlea, do your service part, and I was a girl guide. So that was a necessary part of it. The schools, and in terms of there was a discussion on national values and national ethos that we're supposed to ensure that we bring those back, and which have been highlighted and taunted in terms of how do we ensure that we bring in those values. People are there. And those start within the household. It's you as a parent. If your child comes in wearing somebody else's sweater, why won't you tell them to give it back? You know, it's basic, simple, basic things that we do on an everyday basis.
That we keep on
that
ignoring.
will keep that, yes, that, and it's not completely ignoring, because I do believe that we do have leaders who are ready to serve. And it's just a matter of getting back, getting our church institutions, instead of them following people because they're being given money on a Sunday, or, you know, we had a function that I attended, and the emphasis was patiwa kakitu. That was being emphasized by a certain church leader. Yes, but where has that been, kupewa kakitu, kanyamu, where has that taken this country?
We are now in debt.
We are now not only in
Corruption.
debt, but areas where people are not serving. And we see it. Look at Kiambu, you know, look at several areas. And I think, and I hope, because the president did appoint the CASs as youth, and I know some of them are very dynamic, impactful young people who have the passion to serve.
No.
And those who have been given the positions, I would hope that with the conflict of interest program being brought in, with the issue of deterrence of corruption measures that are being put in, that we will first look to serve. Because at the end of the day, half of those who took billions or trillions, I don't know what it is that they were taking, you know, you sound like those, if somebody took $1 million, they sound like a pickpocket or a petty thief. A billion is the standard. They're not sleeping at night. They don't have any peace. Why? Because they're all looking over their shoulder wondering, oh my God, they can't even sit in a restaurant because the minute they see one of the DPP or the DCI walking around, they're almost jumping into the fire in the kitchens, running away because they think they've been come for.
But now I'm looking at, you know, what you're saying, and I have to bring this up now. Yesterday we had the president. You know, there was a reshuffle in the cabinet, and you know, the president fired or he can say sacked the former CS, that is Mwangi Kiunjuri, from cabinet, and right now we have you know, people who have been nominated into their respective ministries. We have you know, Mutai Kagwe, CS for education, Betty Maina, CS for trade, Rachel Omamo, foreign affairs, Karaoke, CS water irrigation. We have Peter Munya, CS for education, you know, Monica Juma, CS for defense, Chelugui, CS labor, Yatani, CS for treasury. With regards to this and the statement that the president gave, what are your thoughts with regards to what he said, everything that he said, and the appointments, the nominations that he did, also with the sacking that he gave?
I think I would just like to commend the stand that he has taken, because in yesterday's speech, the president took a position that he is not on the side of any business cartels, but he's on the side of wananchi. He's on the side of the common wananchi and looking for justice for them, to ensure that their crop, the producers of this country, actually benefit from the sweat and the hard work of their hands. I think to the whole country, this is what we've been waiting for. Somebody to break the establishment of these cartels and where they've been at, and ensure, you know, why are we being paid 40 shillings for tea and coffee? When you should be getting 100 shillings. So that means that the broker in between is making 50 to 60 shillings. More than the person who has the farm, who has invested in the production of the crop, ensuring that what their the sweat they've put in, labor they've paid, fertilizer, all their farming inputs, that they're the ones who benefit from it. Somebody sitting prettily on the side is like, oh, I'll let them work and then I'll come in, and because they're so poor, I'll just give them a stipend there and then collect everything and make the profit. If we can break those cartels, which I think is what Ethiopia has been able to do, to be able to ensure that their coffee is the best, that it's marketed to its people, that will put money in the pockets of parents. Mm-hmm. You take a look at education. How many children are not going to school this year because they're not able to raise the school fees? There's so many. There's so many. I know there's one child from Kiambu who approached me and she was like, "Ma'am, please, I've been called to Limuru Girls. I have 400 points. I'm being asked to repeat by my school at 400 points. She's been asked to repeat. But if you, and I know you have children and you have your own bills, but if you pay for me to go to Broadway, which is a day school, I promise I'll do my best and I'll pass." That child has worked so hard. They've grown up in the slum. She repeated. Last year she had 360 points. She repeated, and now the school is telling her to do 400. I don't know whether they're trying to do that to get their school average up. But I think these are the real issues, the injustices that a lot of parents are facing because they're not able to raise the money. We've seen the economy has not been easy for the last little while. But these issues that touch the common mwananchi, I talked to a friend of mine and they said, no, that child has to go to school. So we've paid. She's going off to school this morning.
But you know, there are many other children.
There's so many because in Kiambu alone we have over 280,000 students that go through
I don't know
KCP.
You saw what happened for one student in the Nyanza region, went to school with just a bar of soap.
Yes. That is the plight of the common person. And that is what corruption has done, has stolen from the youth of this country, has ensured that the opportunities that would be there are not there because this child, the bursaries would have been given out. We should not have any child who is so bright being unable to attend school.
I would like you to be part of this conversation from home. SMS 20154, that is the number. Start with the word Channel 1, tell us your name and where you are watching us from. If at all you prefer social media, the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Tag me at Ram Aguko and at Doreen Arange and at Jane Wamboy. The official station handle is at KBC Television. Keep tweeting. Keep texting. Let's head over into issues pertaining Kiambu County now. And this is where things get interesting. We had Governor Ferdinand Waititu with regards to what he has been going through. He has been moving up and about, in court. Now he has been barred from office by the court from accessing, his office over an abuse of office charge. He was impeached by members of county assembly in Kiambu County on December 19th. That was last month. Was his impeachment the best move for the county of Kiambu?
Well, what I can say is, I think what Kiambu was expecting and what they got were two totally different.
The
expectations and who they elected. But then, they did elect him on one basis: come and remove Kabogo, we are tired of him. That was the basis of it. It was not what he was coming to do or anything like that. The United for Kiambu, what they had come together to do.
What about the manifestos? Everything that they said, the promises they gave in the campaigns, everything that they said during, the campaign period. Well,
you can see for yourself. I mean, it's plain for the whole country to see. It's black and white. The intention for coming into office was not to serve the public, but was to come and amass as much as possible and do campaigns for somebody who will be able to continue that regimen of ensuring that a continuous theft goes on within the county.
Is Kiambu County heading towards the right direction?
No.
In your view?
No. Unfortunately, and it's very painful because during, I think, my tenure, Kiambu County ranked among the top 10, whether it is in service delivery, medical, drugs were available within the hospital. But I think what this addresses is a fundamental issue in terms of the governance structures.
Yeah.
If we take a look at what is it that the continuity, what programs were there? You know, you don't elect somebody to come in so that they can trash the work of the previous governor. If it was working, you know, because I understand the criteria of when they came in was, oh, you are allied to the previous governor, out.
So you come with new policies, new people?
It wasn't about continuity, it wasn't about service delivery. But in terms of hounding everybody out of office and now we are going to do our part, which was your part, bringing in cartels from national government to come in and start working within the county government, not service delivery, not ensuring. I mean, I don't know, maybe my training is different, but I never did business in Kiambu County. I couldn't do it because having worked in, my background is in university administration and corporate banking. There are certain rules and structures that you cannot do business with yourself when you're overseeing an institution or where you're working.
Conflict of interest.
A conflict of interest situation arising. So, you know, when you start awarding your wife and your children work to do within the government, you're truly abusing your office and what it is that you're supposed to do. Let them go work somewhere else.
It was the best move for the county assembly to impeach the governor.
The cry of Wanjiko is they have no services that they used to have before. They don't, they're not able to get, access to hospital services. And there are a lot of people who have died.
Sadly.
It's sadly. What they were expecting, that things would be brought down and the services would be brought down to them. You go down and you hear, no, we're not being able to access these services. We're not being able to attain what it is that we thought we would get. How do we address that? You know, and it's not about going to give people 100 or 200 shillings. You know, the program that was there for the rehabilitation program, seriously. You don't rehabilitate an alcoholic by giving them money. You're encouraging them to go back. More. Exactly. It's a full and comprehensive service that is very expensive, by the way, because you require medication. You require them to retrain themselves. Not a 3-month or 2-week program that I'm seeing going on within Kiambu that, oh, come to my rehab. Rehab requires professionals, and it requires to be done with medical staff to be able to rehabilitate somebody, and it's not a cheap process.
You know, according to the law, the Constitution, Section 33, 3 of the County Government Act, it provides that within 7 days after receiving a notice of a resolution from a Speaker of a County Assembly, the Speaker of the Senate shall convene a meeting, of the Senate to hear charges against the governor, and says that the law says that by resolution the Senate may appoint a special committee comprising of its 11 of its members to investigate the matter. But in this case, the matter is already beyond the legal timeline of 7 days that was there.
Why?
Any meeting called by the Senate could be challenged in court right now and could easily hand Governor Waititu another lifeline. Now, in such a scenario, the County Assembly will be required to impeach Governor Waititu afresh, but at an extra cost of the taxpayer. Your thoughts on that?
The question is this: why aren't we doing the right thing?
Why have we crossed 7 days?
Why? Yes, it's because of the political push and pull that the whole country is aware of. That within Jubilee in itself, there's the president wants to work to ensure that he does his legacy, and there's those who have chosen not to do so, but want him to be a lame duck president with no legacy, so that they can, I guess, inherit him or go on into joining the next government, which is very unfortunate because, and maybe we need to address some of these issues and look legally in terms of how do we empower situations, because it's the same as the county government, you know. Clearly, one has one path and the other person is working to undermine you. How do we deal with those particular issues? The Senate was supposed to have convened a meeting.
Last year.
Last year. They didn't do it because it came during the holidays and all of this. Even if it was last year,
but the Senate has
this is January 14th, right?
Yeah.
So even if they had sent out the notice by the within the 7 days as they were required to do so, they haven't done so. And it won't happen because there's a lot of political push and pull looking at, I would call it sabotage.
It is sabotage.
It is sabotage
to ensure
that you know that those resources are used again, that the public is not given the service that they require. Already, the MCAs have been told by the people, we don't want this person, but a faction within Senate has decided that they're not going to do the right thing for this country, which, or do we now as a country, maybe this is a question that I'd want to ask, when they don't do what they're supposed to do, what is our repercussion as Mwananchi to that Senate? Can we also recall them? You know, because when we get into a point where it clearly looks like a faction of within our elected leaders is supporting corruption and one faction wants to fight it, where are we heading to? You know, what kind of leadership are we presenting to this country? You know, no matter how much you want to lie to us by saying, no, we want to ensure that the rule of law is followed. Wanjiku has pronounced herself clearly.
And that's why I even had to start from the beginning, you know. Do we have leaders who can put people first instead of themselves? In your opinion, do you feel that this is sabotage from the Senate?
From probably higher offices, but you know, under direction, because if we want, you know, you can't go around giving us a narrative that we want what's best for this country and we want to support growth and development, but then when the people say they don't want to be led by corruption, when the judiciary itself refuses to take on corrupt judges who make what do you call it, drugs disappear and don't prosecute the person who was left. You know, I mean, it's what a circus of the ridiculous, and you wonder those people who are circumventing the law and in trying to do what they're not supposed to do. They have children. We are watching them. It's not that, you know, people tend to say Kenyans have a short memory, but we don't. We are watching.
We don't forget.
We don't forget. We are watching what you're doing.
Some people are complaining and saying that the Senate is actually using the rule of law when it fits their needs.
Yes.
Like in this case, they exceeded the duration that they were supposed to.
When they could have asked for an extension because of the holiday period to ensure that they did do the right thing for the citizenry of this country. So are we going to see ourselves like a situation in Europe where, you know, they come in to do campaign by saying that, oh, we are going to build this road, we are going to provide you with a bridge, and the people are fed up, they actually throw them in the garbage cans, you know, and start chasing them away. We'll probably get to that point if we continue to disobey and disallow, not listen to what the will of the public is. The public wants service. We want development. We want to be able to take our children to school. We want to be able to have medical care and access. We want those who collect our tax revenues actually channeling those funds in the right way, not to their pocket.
And I love what you're saying, not to their pocket. Because at the end of the day, it should be about the people who put you in office.
Exactly.
Do you feel like the county of Kiambu needs to go for another election to get a new governor?
It's too expensive and it's too close. There's too much going on in the country right now to be able to do that. It's not. It doesn't make sense. Right? If it was just a simple question of will it be able to resolve the issues, I would say yes. But we have BBI coming in. Why don't we address the issues that are supposed to be addressed and go on to a fresh election once we know and we have a clear direction in terms of what we want. But we actually need civic education in this country so that people know what it is that you're going into office for. There's clear pronouncement that public service is to serve the public.
Yeah. If
you're in it to serve your personal pocket, even if government is the biggest client, then do so outside of the confines or the offices of public service, right? That's what you need to do. But you know, right now we have an economy that needs to be jump-started. We need justice to be carried out for the people. We don't want people in government or in government offices who are deal makers for themselves.
So we need a lot of public awareness.
Awareness, understanding of what it is that you're supposed to be doing, so that people don't come in and try to lay claim on what they're doing when it's not their function or role. Well, and they're hiding behind it because the funds that they're supposed to use to assist the people, they're using it. Like during my tenure, we would would pre-qualify women groups. They'd come in, give their proposals of what it is they want to do, then they're trained, and then they're given the checks to do what they have put in their proposals. And then there'd be M&E. Currently, they're told, no. What do you want? I'll buy it for you. I will buy it for you. Use government money, buy it for you, whether you want blow dryers or whatever, then you repay. So you tell me, you're actually lending out government money. I mean, there's certain things that happen in this country where you're like, maybe I'm an idiot or I didn't know what I was doing, but how are you lending out government money as an individual or as an office? It's not
you just
possible.
Observe and then you wonder whether
you're in complete shock. It's like, really? You mean it's possible? That's not what is supposed to happen. They're the ones who are supposed to determine their own development path, and you as a leader are supposed to support them by giving them the necessary training, by monitoring and evaluation, which is what we did when we empowered some of the polytechnics to train the students. When they couldn't do it, we took those students from those institutions and took them to recognized institutions like Kolping Institute or Thika Technical, where they would get the appropriate training, value for the money that it is that we're paying for them to get the training that they required.
There's a lot to talk about that we can talk about when it comes to the county government or the management of Kiambu County. Doreen?
Yeah, so much happening on social media as far as Kiambu County government is concerned. And just before I go to the social media, specifically even on Twitter, I love what Madam Nyokabi has just said in her opening remarks. Sometimes it is that case of this is what you get. I mean, this is what you elect, but what you elect may not necessarily be what you get, which brings me to just that statement on a lighter note. Sometimes when you go shopping online, you see a particular product looking so nice, so flashy, so beautiful, but what you get after you've ordered is like the entire total opposite, which is again brings me back to matters politics, because our leaders, when it's time just before elections, they will come, sell us policies, give us good ideas, but when we put them in office, much of what they said, we don't tend to see that. So is that a case that we as Kenyans just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again? Just before I come to Twitter, Madam Anne, is it a case that for us as Kenyans, as societies, we keep doing these things over and over again, a case of doing the same things, hoping for different results? And how can we move past this?
Probably one of the questions that my economic governance professor, Professor Kibua, at Strathmore, that's one of the questions. What's wrong with us? What is wrong with the country? We know what we're supposed to do. We have the policies that we're supposed to follow, but we don't do what we're supposed to do. And the question is, we need just one of the solutions that he says is maybe we need just one mad person to come in and ensure that he just makes sure that everything gets done. So if you steal, we put you in jail. It doesn't matter. If you don't implement policy the way it's supposed to be, then we get rid of you. And that's what we need. We have the qualified people because we have a very educated Kenyan professional. We know what we're supposed to do. We have institutions. We have the best. Kenya makes the best policies in all of Africa.
Best constitution.
That is, our civil service is one of the best. Why don't we do what we are supposed to do, the right thing for this country? Is it political interest? Is it a political interference? In which case, are those who are empowered within government why are they not delivering what they're supposed to do? And this is a question that we need to ask ourselves as a nation. What is it that we are supposed to do as a country, and why aren't we doing it? You as a government official know what you're supposed to do. I know you probably get somebody who's brought in from maybe private sector, somebody who you're not, here we have technocrats who come into office and employ 6 advisors who don't live within the country because they are their friends, and so they can earn a salary of 1 million shillings. But those checks and balances, who is supposed to handle that? Is it who within government ensures that the policies that are being made comply with what public service demands, and the implementation of it?
No, this is the ideal situation.
No, it's not ideal. Come on. Singapore was able to do it. China does it. Everywhere in the world, they're able to ensure that they have their country running. We've gotten to a point where we were putting in 100% and delivering 10, right? But a lot has been done within government. The question is, why aren't people feeling all of these things that are being done? What is the hiccup? Because there are those who sit on government projects and they know they're supposed to deliver, but they don't do it. Why?
You have said it very strongly that if someone steals, they need to be arrested. But I hope we can get to a point as a country where we get what we call angry enough. Oftentimes we keep saying that yes, we are angry, but we're not angry enough. And that's why we keep doing this same mistake, hoping for different results over and over again. But maybe we can get to a point as a country where we actually get angry enough and we vote in policies, not because we are affiliated by tribe or connections, but actually ideas and minds. But now coming back to social media, of course, our Twitter handles, mine is at Doreen Arange, at Ramaguko, at Jane Wamboy, at KBC, at KBC Channel 1, the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Keep talking to us via those social media platforms. The SMS line is 20154. Tell us what you think, what your perception is of Kiambu County. How forward can this specific county move forward? Now, on Twitter, at Shira Martin says that true. When leaders from counties such as Muranga are establishing cooling plants to sort out the menace, some from other specific counties are busy crying over spilled milk while they are solutions. Madam Anne, just before we come to the fact that yes, we need to move forward past things when things happen in life and coming to specifically Kiambu County, are we a society where we like comparing? Because this particular person is actually just trying to sort of like compare Kiambu to Muranga. But can we move past the fact that we compare ourselves with other counties and try to look at what is affecting our specific county and deal with the issues affecting specific county as our specific county and move past just comparing? Because this county is doing this, we need to do that. This county is building roads, we need to build roads. This county is, giving jobs, we need to give jobs. Do we need to move past comparing and try and look at issues as per how it affects specific counties?
We have a process called that collects the views of what our development plans are. In fact, it kicks off this week. That sets the budget, the programming for what will happen within the next year, and that forms the county integrated development plan. That is where we are supposed to take our views, not comparing ourselves to what other people are doing, because the solutions that are supposed to be gotten are there for each particular county to address its particular needs. Do we follow that? Are we as a citizenry aware that even these town hall meetings are taking place, that this is the time where if we want better pricing for our tea, our coffee, instead of following our leaders, following people to be campaigning for others, let us focus on development. What ails us as a county? What are our issues? If we don't have roads, we need to be able to agree what needs to be done. We actually need to take ownership in the development of our areas, each of our particular areas.
Citizens.
As citizens. This government is not Uhuru Kenyatta's. This government is not, it is ours. And we put him there on behalf of us to be able to direct it. We elect governors to be able to work on our behalf as citizens of this country. The day that we agree that our development is in our hands and that we are going to hold our leaders accountable, our MCAs, our elected members of parliament, county government officials, and the staff that is there, you will not see this kind of behavior taking place. You know, you boo or get rid of and hold them to task, take them to task when they come for a meeting. They will not be, either they won't show themselves in public or they will start addressing the issues as they're supposed to be. But as a public, we need to understand what is the budget making process, what is the cycle, at which point can we make a difference, at which point are we supposed to be heard and present our issues. If we don't do that, then we can't blame people for what? For the problems that we have, because we are also part of the problem.
Well, interesting thoughts there, that this country is not President Uhuru Kenyatta's, it is our country, and we need to just as well hold our leaders accountable. But keep talking to us via our social media platforms. Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1, at Ram Aguko, at Jane Womboye, mine at Doreen Arange. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. The SMS line is 20154. Tell us your views, what you think about Kiambu County. How can this specific county move forward? Of course, we'll be getting back to this, your views, even as we move along with this discussion. Ram.
Yeah, thank you very much. And remember, even as you continue with this discussion, I looked into what you did during your tenure. You started the Kiambu Women's Circle. It attracted thousands of members.
Yes.
And you laid plans to help women groups embark on dairy, poultry, and vegetable farming with an eye for the international market.
Correct.
I don't know how that worked out for you, but how are women doing in terms of their performance in building the nation, especially in Kiambu County, even as we talk about the general perspective of women in Kenya?
Women hold a very important role, and they play a very important role in the development of any country in the world. They're more than half of the population. If you only have 40% of the country working, you're losing a significant amount by not involving the other people. I think it's commendable that we have the number of cabinet secretaries that we have. I think on the CS part, we meet more than the 1/3 gender. On the elective, we still need a lot of work on that.
And that's not doing good.
No.
Is that a bad sign?
Well, yes, I think so. I think that's why we have some of the issues that we have. But as I said, there's a responsibility on each individual to deliver the right kind of service. But I think that in terms of development of women, we can't be, as women, sitting around waiting to be given an opportunity. And what being in politics has taught me is that you must create your own space. Nobody's going, yes, nobody will give you a position on a silver plate.
Someone once told me that leadership is not given,
it's not given, you take it. And we need probably, from a cultural perspective, within an African society, we are not maybe trained to take leadership, and we're not used to seeing women. It's more, even, the home, oh, Baba so and so, that we have that kind of deference, mzee wa nyumba. But finding your voice is not disrespecting men. It's not about going into undress or taking that a physical fight to a man. No, it's about having a stand and a say on a particular issue and saying we're not. If this is the issue on violence, just like the other day, we saw that a woman had been assaulted by an area MP on a radio talk show host.
Yeah.
The shocking part is that it's a woman lawyer who went to defend the assaulter. And I was like, oh my God, I think we have gotten ourselves
But there have been complaints that
confused.
women are not united even in leadership, even in parliament.
Well, I know, but we are just pointing out that we need to actually, if it's gender violence is no to violence whatsoever. Gender violence,
regardless
right?
of who
regardless of who it is just not acceptable. And you know, it doesn't matter where this is. As women, we need to stand up for one tribe called women. And I think in the 10th Parliament, we're very in the 11th Parliament, we're very successful in that. When it came to women issues, there was no party bias. There was no ODM, there was no Jubilee or TNA.
Women were together.
Women, we had one tribe called women, and a very important mentor in Millie Odhiambo in terms of how she mentored some of us women in terms of what are you standing for? You know, don't allow intimidation. I mean, the easiest way to intimidate a woman is now start talking about her sexual history in public, you know, so that you can shut her up. But it's really just about certain things that we will not accept. If it's about a position at the table, we need to be each other's keepers. We need to agree. Right now, we've taken a look and seen how much violence is going on and murder of women within their relationships. It has gotten to a point where I think the Ministry of Health came out and said, okay, no, we need to find out a study. Why are people killing themselves? Why are they killing each other? Why are they killing their wives? Is it the economic pressures, or what is it that is going on? And some of these gender issues need a voice. And I was very happy to see the appointment of Lina Chabi, back now into, I don't know whether she was appointed as CS or CAS, but that was very exciting because she has for a long time championed the issue of the gender issues for women, female circumcision, FGM. So when we see those opportunities, and we would like to see more women who, not women who are given token positions or don't understand what their role is, you know, or who think that coming into a public light is about the salary or whatever it is, but who will actually address issues, pertinent and critical issues, not just for women, but for the benefit and the growth of society.
Speaking of economic times, is the Kiambu Women's Circle also, is it still functioning? Is it still
functioning.
Having people
it is functioning.
Productively?
Not at the level that I was when I was there actively, because access to resources, we've seen what has happened within the economy. It has deteriorated. There's been non-performing loans. People are not able to pay. But we are actually on the process of revamping it. We're doing an audit of the Kiambu Women's Circle this week, an audit of the systems, the structures. It grew at a very fast rate where systems and structures were not necessarily put into place. But it was because women are accountable to each other, and with a group setting, accountability is on each member to be able to pay. So in terms of activity, it's not revolving circulating at the 40 million shillings that it was doing on a monthly basis. It has gone down. It has gone down. But I do believe that we'll be able to, we're working on the process in terms of trying to re-inject capital, take a look at the non-performing loans and seeing how we can be able to do that, and taking a look at elections of new officials so that we have an opportunity to get, I guess, the right people within its management so that we can be able to restart and capitalize and put in the systems. When that happens, I think, watch out, we are not looking at 40 million, we want to grow to over 100 million.
Next step, big things.
That's right.
And I wonder if, you talked about someone getting into office and, you know, not proceeding with the things that were left by the previous leaders or previous government. I don't know. I don't know if the current women rep, Muchomba, could still be continuing with the Kiambu Women's Circle, but maybe she has an input. Are you still, you know, in communications with her with regards to the women issues for, you know, the women in Kiambu County?
Well, when we take a look at development programs, hers is different. She started a program on rehabilitating. I built a community center within Wangunyo Primary School, which was supposed to benefit the youth, where they could come in and utilize the equipment, and the hall to be used by women groups for trainings, etc. And to have a rescue center, because within that area it has the highest level of crime within Kiambu. It has a significant history and prevalence of abuse of incest and such cases. So there was the center was supposed to be a stopgap point where those children are rescued before they're moved on to the county institutions for them to be rehabilitated and taken care of. Now it has been converted into a rehab center. So that, I think they charge 30,000 shillings per rehability to come in.
Per person?
And, yes, per person, to come in and be rehabilitated for, I think, 3 weeks. So, every person with their own programs for development. But in terms of the women agenda...
Have you noticed any change? Positively?
Positively?
Or negatively?
Well, I think the women were very upset by being told that their husbands should marry 3 and 4 wives. So I think maybe that was starting on a wrong footing, but I guess in her own way, she does what she can.
She does what she can. But now, you've talked about leaders, other leaders, how people need to be passionate and vibrant. And let me talk about you. Because I know politics, for women can be challenging, not equate to the challenges that are there experienced in men. Because they one mistake a woman can do can be done 100 times
by men, yes.
by men, and it goes, without saying. You talk about passion, commitments, selflessness, and let me add, it takes also God at some point.
Absolutely.
How was it for you, being a woman leader?
I would say that I think I came in with a lot of gusto and a lot of, we were here, we've been elected. Our job is to make sure that we support the president, support the ruling party, to make sure that we do, it was there, the steam was there, One day you're being called as drugs and alcohol, that, administration, you're told that a certain chief is doing this and that. So you're there, dynamically, you hear that students were beaten up by a teacher in which this institution, 7 a.m. unaanguka huko. So I think it was a period, it was a lot of learning. I actually came in thinking that, civil service, they don't do anything. They just hang their jacket there and then they go do their own biashara. Shock on me. It does not. In fact, the best time for me to see any government official for any of the projects was at 7 a.m. or after 8 p.m. because during the day they have so much to do.
Busy.
So 7 a.m.
You have to be
you have to be, yes, in that office to be able to see who you want to see in order to solve whatever problem it is that needs to be done.
At that time, mwananchi bado analala.
Yes. So, which shows you that civil service does work. And really, I do believe that by giving, it takes the type of leader that you are. For myself, with my background with university administration and corporate banking, system structures, institutions were very key in terms of even my delivery, the kind of work that I did, ensuring that within each ward, it didn't matter. I didn't need to know who you were, but 10 people from each ward needed to go to the university training program. It doesn't matter whether, as long as you're from Kiambu, you have an ID from there, you don't have to be, Kiambu is home to people from all different backgrounds. So as long as you're there, you need the assistance, that is what you would get. So in terms for myself, my opportunity to have served the people of Kiambu was one that was very fulfilling. I was gung-ho and up to the task in terms of service. That's
The
what I
very,
believe.
the very
that
first
was,
women rep
yes,
in Kiambu County.
I think
Must
it's a
have felt
legacy.
good.
It was, you know, that's history. There'll never be another first. I will be the first always, and that will go down in history. And I really did enjoy service to my people, and I think that you know, it's not a permanent seat. It's something that other generations that I hope will be able to come in and improve from what has been done, and grow that space and mentor other women and develop their counties.
Let's talk about education in Kiambu County. You have a background in corporate banking, university administration.
Yes.
I'm aware you studied at some point in Canada.
Yes, I did.
That's right. And based on what you see, during your time, you got the attention of the former education CS, Kaimeni.
Yes.
To bring changes in Kiambu County. Okay, how did it turn up till now, and what do you think about education right now as it is? Alafu nini imekufurahisha hapo?
Nimefurahi kwa sababu that when I came in, I happened to have visited the county commission at that time, Esther, and she told me she was interviewing for the position of the county education board. I told her, now I'm also part of the interview. So we'll sit down and interview these candidates and see what will be done. Simply because Kiambu County hosts a significant percentage of the top educational institutions. However, the transition rate from primary to secondary school was ridiculous. It was less than 60% for the county. So what happens to those students who didn't perform?
Where do they go?
Our mean score at that time was 232 points. 200.
Right now?
No, at that time when I came in, 232 point mean score for majority of the students. So of course, majority of those students did not go into secondary. Which one would they be going into? So hosting those particular institutions does not benefit the citizens of Kiambu, because you find the students coming in are from other counties. But you with your 200, a majority of the students, and then they'll actually not go on to high school.
Alliances in Kiambu County.
Alliances in Kiambu, Loretta, Limuru Girls.
The top schools.
The top schools are there. But and what happens is when you don't have an opportunity for the people within the county to get the right kind of training. And I remember at that time we were agitating to have one class in each of those national schools to go to the students from Kiambu County. Maybe that's why we have the leaders that we do. You know, it could be, it's possible. It's possible. It could be the reason, because if we are not able to transition our students into the high schools, it means that there's a generation and several generations of students who have gotten lost within the system somewhere, and our institutions are filled with students from other counties, and the persons who have given residence to those institutions are not benefiting. What does that mean? That within civil service or within, and then the transition now from high school to university or tertiary institutions was 30%. What does that mean? You have an illiterate population, people who are not able to take up positions. What does that mean? That even within the leadership that you elect, you won't be able to get the best services. Why? Because your own are not able to access the right kind of education. So the decision-making capacity, your ability to have a voice or to know what to do about ensuring that you're represented at the table, it's just down there.
Was your connection with the former CS Kaimeni beneficial?
But actually, now the thing with Kaimeni, we had top students who were not accepted into. They were being called to institutions in Lamu, Northeastern. And we're like, well, what? Our top candidate in Kiambu County with 422 marks could not go to be, was not even called into alliance. So we decided as members of parliament to start agitating for this. Of course, at that point, you know, you have CSs with interesting characters. He was not amused. And was, you know, he said, no, Mheshimiwa, it's not possible. There's no corruption in the education system, in the acceptance, and we are not going to change anything. So
you could not reason together.
We could not reason together. We didn't have a point of meeting. So I decided that every single time that I stood up to speak, I will make sure I bash him. I will make sure I let the whole world know what kind of corruption is going on there and how the opportunities are not going to the students who deserve them.
But bashing with points?
Yes, with points, with facts, because it's true. I had them. You know, we had 230,000 students who did their exams. Our mean score is 2-something. Our top student were being called to institutions. It was even brought on the local radio stations. As we tried to agitate to get those issues addressed. So I decided that, fine, you're going to deal with me that way, I'm also going to deal with you in a political way, the way that I know.
The way you are an education enthusiast.
Yes.
From
absolutely, you know. And you know, our education officers at that point were working out of a milk shed in Kiambu County. You know, it is just incredible, just some of the things that would happen. Within national government books, there are education offices in Kiambu. There were, but they didn't have them. They were working out of a cow shed. That, you know, this chicken mesh wire, that is now where the DEO used to sit.
Hey.
Yes. So when I went to his office, I was in complete shock. I decided this is not going to happen, not under my watch. It will not happen. So I bashed him. He called me one time and said, Mheshimiwa, okay, hii vita tuachane nayo tafadhali. Unataka nini? I told him we don't have education offices. We have a plot of land within Kiambu municipal area. Build it. That building is finished. We're actually just waiting to see if the president will commission that educational building for Kiambu County. Our district education officers used to report during my time handwritten things. We went for a meeting. I was in shock. They used to write handwritten reports. I was like, in which age?
There's a time you took them through training?
I took them to KIST. I told the principal of KIST, who I really appreciate because he didn't charge us. Yes, he did. I told him, no, this is not going to happen. Anybody who brings a handwritten report will go home. Because we are working in the computer age. You're hiring district education officers who are giving out their information in handwritten things. No. So they started now doing, they got training, and I started an incentive program where the top performing DEO, I gave them 30,000, second 25,000, and the third 20,000, and the most improved 5,000.
You've tried. You've really tried. you really tried. And I don't know if the same can still be felt now, but Doreen.
Yeah, pretty exciting discussion you're having there with Madam Anne, and also interesting thoughts just from her. One that I've picked is that she's just mentioned that we as women, in as much as we are women, we should not feel entitled to some position, to some capacities in life. We should actually work our way up there, fight for such positions. Just because you're a woman doesn't make you any entitled for these positions. Work for them, get them in the right and correct way. But still also, quite numerous feedbacks coming through via our social media platforms. And on Twitter, I'm seeing at JMSA, hashtag Good Morning Kenya, he is saying, no beauty shines brighter than that of a good heart. That is just one of the comments. There's another one from Ian Mwenda is saying that he is loving the show. Actually, what he's just trying to say that the discussion is really quite interesting. What Madam Anne is just saying about Kiambu County, trying to demystify some of these things that happen as far as politics is concerned, policies, electing of leaders in that specific county. Then the last comment, that is from David Kiama, and he is saying, hello Mheshimiwa, Honorable Nyokabi, we envy your leadership and we really miss you at Kiambu County. That just goes to say that whatever good works you do, regardless of the fact that you're in office or out of office, people will still remember you, they will still recognize you, they will still appreciate you. Basically what David Kiama is saying on Twitter. Again, also our social media platforms are still open. On Twitter is the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya, at KBC TV, at Ram Aguko, at Jane Wamboi, at Doreen Arange. The SMS line is 20154. Keep them feedbacks coming. We'll continue sampling them even as we continue with the show. Ram.
Thank you very much, Doreen. Your take on that? Someone is saying the mission in Kiambu.
You know, of course, once you've done something with passion and with love, you miss impacting people's lives. But what I can say is that for the people of Kiambu, continue to agitate for your rights. Don't allow people to take from yourselves what belongs to you. So with regards, no matter what happens, demand for your markets to be open, demand for your roads to be done, and participate in the public budget making cycle to ensure that your voices are heard. Next time, elect better.
Are you saying that those who are in office now are not good enough?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
You heard them. It's not me.
You are in the board of a primary school in Gatundu.
Yes.
Yes. What's it called? What's the name? Sheridan Academy?
Sheridan Academy, yes. I actually am on two boards.
Two boards?
Yes. I am a director at Sheridan Academy, which is a primary school, a private primary school that has, for the last 4 years running, been #1 in the county. As I said, a child of a mother who is a teacher have no option but to participate and make sure you do what she says. So because her passion is teaching, and she has been an my mother has been an educationalist for a very long time. We call her the grandmother of the children because she has her personal interaction talks one-on-one with the candidates and ensures that, you know, teaches them good manners, the importance of presentation, the importance of career choices, etc. So I think what it does, it gives her something to do.
I wonder what her grandchildren say about Shosh.
About Shosh. She's their favorite. You're kidding. By the time they close school, they are asking me, what are we doing here? We need to go see our grandma.
So we can say that through the background you got,
yes,
you know, it gives you, better eyesight, and a better line of sight with regards to, dealing and handling educational issues still in the board of the schools that you are in.
Absolutely. In terms of delivery, more so that in terms of what assistance is required and how to ensure that there's delivery. The good thing is that I don't work alone. The board has several, about 4, 5, 6. So my contribution will be maybe 10 or 20%.
How did they perform last year?
They were #1.
#1.
4 years consecutively.
You're talking about one school, Sheridan?
One school, Sheridan Academy, has been #1 continuously for the last 4 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Let's talk about bursaries.
Yes, well, let me talk about the other school. I'm also on the board of Mhoho High School, which is a public school, boys' school. And I think with regards to that, we're working to ensure that the academic committee, I'm on the infrastructure committee because we need to build up. I think I was told this year we have a capacity for 180, but we have 300 students coming in. Wow. So there's a huge crisis in terms of where we're going to house these boys and continue to keep up the standards. So, within the Ministry of Education, there are those departments that are tasked with ensuring that infrastructure for schools continues. We'd like that fast-tracked or facilitated for not just the school that I'm aboard on, but the country, across the country, because there's that 100% transition rule that has come in. So, of course,
you have to prepare yourself for
they
that 100%
have to be prepared for that, exactly.
Which
And
you're not.
we are not ready, but we're working very hard on it as a board to ensure that at least we'll have classrooms for those students.
Right.
And then by the next phase, probably within the next month, the dormitories should be done.
I remember on bursaries, and I would like you to just give a brief comment on this within a minute or so. We had last year the Deputy Governor, James Nyoro, on Jamhuri Day. He assured Kiambu residents that the bursaries, they'll give out bursaries and they'll be availed on time. And he said that the first batch will be released in January 2020, that is this month, and the second in March. With regards to bursaries, how is Kiambu County government handling bursaries, and are they giving these bursaries in a way that is, fair and responsible, for lack of a better term?
Well, there will always be complaints when it comes to the issue of bursaries, because demand and supply issues.
Yeah.
The demand outstrips the
Supply.
supply of the bursaries that is available. In terms of the pre-qualification process, we hear complaints, what is the criteria used to be able to pre-qualify people, and the other issue is, while he may say that we will give out the bursaries on time as it's supposed to be, it becomes an issue of availability of funds and when they're processed now through national government to the counties. So that there's always some sort of mismatch with regards to when money is available. But we did hear the president say, bursaries to be released and monies to be released to do the various projects. So quickly as possible, that should happen, so that to ensure that people are able to go to school. And I won't say that they're given out fairly, because I'm not on the committee that disburses the funds or the criteria. But what I would do is encourage those who are serving not to give their children those bursaries. Give them to the needy and the deserving and the orphans within the community, so that we have a generation of people who will be able to provide and the right citizens within the country. How about that?
You've managed to raise your own children, some in
Yes.
university, one is finishing secondary.
Yes.
I don't know if there is any who is still young.
No.
No.
Well, not mine, but I am a mother of very many other children.
Oh,
yes.
Mama ya watu.
Yes.
Talk about the CBC, just in a nutshell. What are your thoughts? Because now we have the rollout of grade 4.
Yes.
It started this year. Last week, people went back to school. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the CBC is the way to go. I've watched the children, having been on one board where you're actually seeing the implementation and the training of the teachers. This is a more creative area for the children. I know people want to make fun that all these kids are using wheelbarrows, but we can't be cramming as a society. We can't force feed and cram children. We need creativity. For this economy to grow, we need people who can think outside of the box. The way the world is going, it's the creative industries that are providing the highest level of employment and opportunity. So what we need to do is embrace CBC. When the teachers are supposed to be trained, go on out. And because it's a new system that is being introduced and it's something that is happening, the CBC is similar to what happens in Singapore, is similar to what happens in North America, etc. So there is value within that education system. Of course, people will look and, no, my child should be cramming. But look at Norway. When do the children start learning to read and write? It's past 6 years, correct? Why? Because they want the children's mind to grow and be more in, what do you call it? To grow, and they spend most of their time playing, because that's how children learn. And what it does is give children their own, every child has their own learning style, and to be able to incorporate that.
Have you observed how the rollout is ongoing in Kiambu County? At some point, have you noticed any mishaps? Have you made any
Well,
observations?
not everybody is training their teachers the way that they're supposed to do. And it's just an issue of monitoring and evaluation, making sure that at this stage, all what is it, year 1, 2, 3 are trained. Year 4, we trained our teachers over, I think, about 2 weeks ago for this January rollout for CBC.
Yeah, the grade 4.
Yes, for the grade 4. It's not perfect in its implementation, but it is the right way to go, because not everybody doesn't have to go to university. You can be a successful person, and if you take a look at all the other North American countries, they're successful because they bring in the learning styles that are different. Those who makes the most money, people who work with their hands. A basic salary of 60,000. What do office people make? 40, whatever. Why? Because if without those critical skills, we are a country that is growing. We need plumbers, we need electricians, we need trained people who would be able to do construction, masonry, etc. Technical. Those are the ones that will help this country grow. That's what grew Germany.
Now, let's talk about the youth. It was just last week that we had one interesting thing that happened in Kiambu. Authorities seized and destroyed outlawed substances worth over 8 million Kenyan shillings from various sub-counties within Kiambu County. We had the regional commissioner, that is Wilfred Nyagwanga, who on Thursday last week, he led government officials in banning 110 illegal gambling machines, 100 plus rolls of bang, 110 liters of changa, 45 liters of muratina, 300 liters of kangara, 2 cartons of second generation liquor, 40 liters of molasses and boilers cooler. How does that reflect Kiambu County?
It actually reflects the problem that that needs to be addressed, first of all, because it has been an issue. Alcohol and drugs has been an issue, and it looks like a planned and systematic way of destroying a full generation of young people. It's Kiambu County that is happening, proximity to Nairobi, and business people who have no ethics, who believe that making money at any point so that I can take my children to school by destroying other people's children.
But is that how even, everyone complains about the leaders that we have everywhere else, not just in business?
True. So, how do we deal with these people? We need very, very firm people in administration, including those who benefit. Because, I don't know how we're going to deal with this issue of administration benefiting from proceeds of corruption. Because if you're a chief and those things are happening within your area, you should be fired or you should be put in jail. Why? Because you're not working. Because if you were an effective administrator, those things would not be happening. It's not that these people who sell these illicit drugs are not known.
They're known.
They're known. It is very well known who is there, who does the work, and the people know about it. The interesting thing is that we keep trying to say that, some investigation. What if you go and ask somebody, nani anauzanga bangi hapa? Oh, mama so and so. Yule jama wanajua.
It's like you're sugarcoating.
You're trying to sugarcoat a process that it doesn't need to be sugarcoated. It just needs to be dealt with.
But so this is a reflection of poor leadership in Kiambu County, because this was just last week. Is it a reflection of poor leadership in Kiambu County?
Just not now, even during our time. Remember, there's a directive the president gave for us to go and destroy alcohol.
Yes.
So it's a continuous problem. Why is it that we feel that the only way that we can make money is through selling drugs or creating or that illicit industry? Why can't we motivate these people now, or create policies that allow industries to be created so they can create jobs for these young people? When a young person believes that you can make money through betting, we've lost it as a country. completely. Because you're not generating anything by gambling. You're actually going, you wait for your mother to get into her room, you take her sufuria, you go sell, that's 20 shillings, you go and bet with it. It's a real problem. It's affecting families. It's destroying families.
Isn't it because of the poor state of economy in the country? Lack of jobs, unemployment.
Okay. Lack of jobs. That may be the case. What are we doing about it? What is the solution for it? You know, we can say lack of jobs, yes. Okay, but what is it that we need? What is Kiambu known for? Agriculture, right? So how do we start making work look sexy? How do we make it attractive to the young people? That if I grow, what is it, like pig farming is very profitable. One sow, because I was in school last week, I was being trained by Mr. Mwago, who runs a very big a pig industry.
You've gone back to school?
Yeah, I'm doing my master's in public policy and management, but I'm also looking at what other industries that I can continue to support myself. Oh. So one sow gives you an approximate 10 piglets, correct?
Yeah.
Maturing at 5 months, you're able to, after your expenses, if you feed them properly and do what you need, make a profit of 10,000 shillings, right? A liter is about 10 piglets, right?
Yes.
It does. It gives birth 3 times a year, but you can sell twice a year, right? So that is 200,000 shillings from one pig.
200,000 in
yes,
a year.
In a year.
And you say there are no jobs.
Yes. We need to now start thinking outside of the box.
You should put me in that business.
Kuja class.
200 Gs.
Yes, from one. And if you buy 5, or you start with 2 or 3, and it gives birth 3 times in a year. So by January next year, you have now your 3rd ones ready to sell. We need to now rethink. It's not about how do I work and make sure that I have money. With this fish farming, seeds of gold. Honestly, what we are seeing, grow even the horticulture, whatever it is. Let's look at how do we process. People are saying they're throwing their milk away. Do you know how to make yogurt? It's easy. You get a jiko, you put in those mikebes on top, you double boil your milk, take one bit of yogurt, when it boils, you skim off that fat, right? Once you skim off that fat, you put it out to cool in a closed container. Take 1 tablespoon of yogurt, put it in. Tomorrow morning, after 8 hours, once it's cooled, you have yogurt. Why aren't we serving our children it? There's so many creative ways of getting things done. But we need to stop thinking that I must be employed, I must have a job.
I must work in an office.
I must work in an office in order to make money.
Words from a mother. Yogurt in the second kukunywa. But Honorable Nyokabi, I am looking into the aspects of unemployment, especially in Kiambu County. Youths complain that there are no jobs. We've seen rallies going on, left, right, center, and every time there's a rally, the people, something that will always be talked about is
youth
wapatiwe kazi. Your thoughts on this?
Kazi inatoka wapi? Hii kazi wanapatiwa ni gani? Let me tell you something. There's those, I would wish that those, there was the revamping now Kenya National Trading Corporation, Kenya Industrial Estates. If we can invest in Kenyans to be able to create industry, right? The loans, instead of stealing the money at KFA, let the farmers be able to produce. Let those who, the Kenya Industrial Estates, Chinese are coming here to farm to export. Some things just don't make sense. Foreigners come in and they see the opportunities that we don't see. And they do some very basic things.
And they complain once they get the jobs.
Once they get the jobs, or they come in and they rent a farm and they start growing spinach for export. Is that something so difficult that we can't do? So those who are charged with those particular opportunities, at the county we have them. what we produce, because that's the best way to make money, is what is it that is locally available. Our youth are very ingenious. You saw the young man using technology to open his door. There's a doorbell and in ITC. And I hope the reorganization that was done yesterday by His Excellency the President by taking Moshero and youth affairs to that area. Because you know, you can't tell youth to go and start limaring. They won't do it. They want a different way of doing things. They don't feel that they need to break their backs to be able to make money. But they have the brains to be able to be innovative and have creative solutions. And how do you create jobs? You find a problem and you create a solution for it. Because, as we've said, the government we're already complaining of the wage bill. So we need to find a creative way of how do we get these solutions. We need to ensure that we mentor the young people, for those who are in industry and those who are in offices. And stop, I saw that, sometime in December, there's a particular ministry or parastatal that refused to have interns. And I'm wondering, really?
Yeah.
Do you think the jobs are yours for life? You know, you only hold that position for a certain time. The interns come in you need new minds, a refreshing way of doing
regardless
things.
of it, no job that we have is ever permanent.
Exactly.
You cannot be in an office for so long.
Right.
And I was reading a tweet by Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. He said, today you'll wake up in the morning as CS, you have security, you are beating the traffic tomorrow. And in the evening, you go back to work with the traffic. Well, Doreen.
How do we create jobs? Find solutions to curb that. Those are Madam Anne Nyokabi's words as far as unemployment is concerned. And not just in Kiambu County. We really hear a lot of unemployment cases in our country. In this time where we have so many graduates, so many people going to school, getting degrees, getting certificates, getting all of this, but where are the jobs for them? And this just brings me to this tweet, which I've just been trying to look at some of these tweets that at least are in line towards unemployment, most especially unemployment amongst the youth. And this is one at casino games, and he says that Kenyan authorities ban 110 illegal gambling machines in Kiambu County in a move to protect local communities. And this just makes me come back to you, Madam Anne. Is this the high state of unemployment in this specific county, and just what practical moves are being engaged, at least to curb this issue of unemployment, at least reduce on these gambling cases, because then we tend to know that this is not a good move and a good thing, especially amongst young people.
Your thoughts on that?
Okay. Around the world, gambling is a government-controlled activity. It's never private sector, unless it's a casino, where people are able to engage in gambling and even alcohol control. You find that drinking hours in most of the first world countries are regulated from a certain time to a certain time. I guess similar to what we call the Motudo laws, so that people are actively engaged in working. Our people need to be engaged. They need to work. What do they need to do? We need to deal with the economy the way that it is. We understand, and we've seen that there are efforts to ensure that they kickstart and innovate with what is happening. You've seen the modern technologies that are being introduced, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to farm by going to the soko. There's e-farming.
Yeah.
They tells you what's the most. You can do your mathematics up front before engaging in what you need to do. Biashara centers are being launched. Participation in what do you call it? The big four with the housing.
The big four agenda.
Yes, there's American
affordable housing.
Yes, American government invested in the training with the Kenyan government of MSMEs. And teaching them how to organize themselves in cooperative groups, how to build door handles, create doors, windows, and all of that. Those opportunities are there.
We can be actively involved in them without wanting to make money overnight.
Well, you know, they have to buy from locally produced. That's the regulation now, that we must buy local before we import from China. So what does that mean now? That we can actually take a look at what are the manufacturing opportunities that are there. That level of training has been fantastic, and we're looking forward to seeing if those opportunities will be available and where we can begin to take a look at investing in whether it's that agriculture, the construction, biashara centers is the new launch that has been done by government.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing where, and we don't want them just in Nairobi. They've piloted enough in Nairobi. Let's go now to the other areas like Kiambu.
All right. All right. Finally, Doreen.
Still so much feedback concerning matters to do with youth unemployment. Remember, like I keep saying, we cannot have any discussion in this country of whatever manner and dissuade the fact that matters to do with unemployment really becomes an issue we grapple with so much as a country. Still on the same matters as far as Kiambu County is concerned, and this is that Kuruzi saying that Kiambu County seeks innovative public-private partnership to benefit local youth. And even just from this picture, we are seeing at least private people from the private sectors, public sectors, and even musicians just coming together to try and find solutions or amicable ways in which, you know, young people can get jobs. Coming back to you, Madam Anne, might you be aware of this kind of partnership that probably was ongoing? This is a partnership at least to seek innovative ways in which young adults can get jobs, and just how far might this have reached?
All right, as we, all right, just in a brief, within a minute on that, as we wrap things up, yes?
With regards to public-private partnerships, I'm sure the county has started to engage to take a look at what solutions that they can offer. And I would probably encourage them to roll that and those programs out more, probably have more broadcasting opportunities where they can have the youth participate more, and public-private partnerships, opening up and expanding that window of youth opportunities. I think there was a fund that was created in terms of access. There's up to 40,000 shillings unsecured loans that the financial institutions have been encouraged to loan onto the youth. So a marrying of those opportunities, because most people are like, oh, well, you know, we have this, but we don't have the money to do it. And most of the financial institutions also do have a training program. I know the KCB has that. So I think 2020 is a year where we're excited and think and believe that there'll be a lot of opportunities for the people. So let us pray that as we go in, we'll be able to see where those opportunities are for the youth of Kiambu County.
All right. So Doreen, a final word from your end?
A final word, but I just wanted to read one last tweet, and I wanted Madam Anne to briefly just expound on that a bit. And this was one at Chira who was who's saying that you are busy crying over spilt milk while there are solutions. And this just makes me come back to our guest this morning. What kind of solutions are there now, specifically just to Kiambu County? Because whatever happened actually happened. You know, the then governor has been put out of office because of the many issues we have mentioned, even when we are beginning this conversation. Matters to do with corruptions, inadequate funds, all of these things that are supposed to be put in place in this county but hadn't been put in place. So all of these things has happened. This is what we call the spilt milk. So what kind of solutions can this specific county come up with, at least to bring itself back to its feet?
The solutions within government are many. We do have a Ministry of Industrialization. I would encourage them, those CCs who are in office, and would to approach Can Invest as an institution. It brings in investors who are willing to set up industry. Kenya National Trading Corporation, engage the national government in terms of what are the opportunities that people are looking for, and what, for in terms of export, what is the requirement. That information is normally available to government, but they need what the county and elected members They have been elected to find solutions for their people.
All right.
Go on into government institutions, find what the need is, bring it back to your county for your people, not for your own pockets, for your people, and for others to come in and be able to invest so that the opportunities can be available for the people.
All right. Well, as we bring this discussion to a close, Honorable Nyokabi, I would like you to maybe have a final word with regards to now, everything in general as a nation. With a final word, what would you tell Kenyans as a nation, even as we look into the issues that have been developing yesterday and the issues that are expected to develop now that we have new cabinet secretaries, now that we have new appointments that have been given by the president. And not only that, he has spoken about different things, corruption and everything that he expects even from the court. Just in general, a final word to the Kenyans.
To Kenyans, wherever you are, we've entered 2020, the year of double-double, the year we believe of it to be a decade, 10 years of opportunity and blessings that will be available. The question is, how will you be able to take advantage of them? If we agree to be drawn into nonsensical politics, we will be the losers. If we agree to work together and refuse to be politicked and focus on development, we are at a stage where Kenya is on the ready for takeoff. The president has focused his policies on deterring corruption, expanding the opportunities that are there for Mwananchi by removing the cartels, whether it is in the area of creative arts and industries, where revenue collection, we heard Viusasa and those particular institutions, unless they bring themselves into mainstream revenue collection, they will not be allowed to operate outside of government frameworks and infrastructure in collecting of national funds. So there is an approach and a clear direction in terms of where this country and the president wants to leave it with his legacy. Let us agree to participate, and let us agree to take advantage of the opportunities and demand them from our leaders, demand them from our government offices. You have an idea, your persistence, and your exploration. We have to be hungry to learn. We need to be hungry to know where the opportunities are, and agree to participate in the development of this country. We have a choice that we can make. We can agree to politic because of 200 shillings or 300 shillings that politicians will agree upon, or we can agree to focus on the key issues that affect us in our daily lives and refuse to be drawn into areas that are not going to benefit. Let us work together for a cohesive Kenya, one nation that works together, that is interested in the future of Kenya. And when we do work, we work not just for ourselves, but for the future of our children, our grandchildren, and future generations and the posterity of this republic.
Right. As a leader, when you are elected in government, go to the same government, find solutions that will not help you as an individual, but for your people. One of the last words from Madam Nyokabi, such thought-provoking statements, of course, not just for our leaders only, but even for us as a society. That is much of what has been happening in this conversation as far as Kiambu County politics and infrastructure is concerned, as well as development. We do this every other day from Monday through Thursday. Pretty exciting and interesting interviews here on Good Morning Kenya that are just so intriguing, interesting, and exciting. But we also look at what also happens on our roads in terms of traffic. That is what we do again every other day from Monday through Thursday from 6 to 10 a.m. This is just where we want to wrap the show this morning. Many thanks for joining us. Again, till tomorrow, my name is Doreen Arange.
And just as Honorable Nyokabi said, let's keep our eyes focused on the goal. Thank you very much for keeping it Good Morning Kenya. See you again tomorrow morning, us from 6 a.m. Remember, Just a quote to leave you by. Great leaders don't set out to be leaders. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the roles. It's always about the goal. May God bless you. May God bless the work of hands. My name is Ram Maguko. Keep it KBC. Keep it. Good morning, Kenya. Ta-ta.